Hey everyone, and welcome back to Scandalous Media. It's Alana here, and we are going to be talking about the 2023 VMAs. It's been a while since I felt like an award show has had a proper celebrity lineup. The 2023 VMAs brought back the joy in watching award shows and keeping up with them because we finally have more stars attending than influencers. This year, we had Doja Cat, Olivia Rodrigo, Shakira, Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj, and Cardi B, Demi Lovato attending for the first time in 7 years, Ice Spice, Diddy, Lil Wayne, Megan Thee Stallion, Selena Gomez, and so much more.
Wow, that was a lot.
It was a pretty interesting event to watch because we got a lot of amazing performances, and it felt like award shows now have prioritized performances and award giving more than the usual skits they used to do back then. I remember just to have two interesting things happen in a row, you had to filter through all these random segments they used to do. Do you guys agree, or am I remembering award shows wrong? It's definitely been a while since award show culture took over. I feel like ever since 2020 we all stopped tuning in till now. So without further ado, let's talk about the 2023 VMAs because there was a lot happening. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe for more, tell us who else you want to see us talking about, follow us on our social media, and as always, shout out to the live fam for watching this with us. If you're anything like me and you haven't kept up with SZA, you should probably know that she's had one of the best music years this year. She released her second album, SOS, in December 2022, which dominated in 2023, with songs like Kill Bill spending 21 weeks at #1 on Billboard's Hot 100, Nobody Gets Me, Snooze, Good Days, and I Hate You, all charting in the top 10 and breaking records in the R&B/hip-hop categories. When it was announced a few days after the VMAs that her management team pulled her VMA performance, fans were convinced her team doesn't know what they're doing. SZA's manager claims, "I figured, why go perform and do this if she's not going to be respected to the highest level? So it was my call to actually pull out of the performance."
Wow. You really are stupid, huh?
By the way, this was in regards to SZA getting snubbed for Artist of the Year. Since when were new artists demanding this much respect in an industry made to disrespect you? Like, this is the same industry that will hype you up into thinking you're gonna win an award, have you come to the award show just to watch your face as they give it to someone else. I'm not saying anyone should tolerate disrespect, but we're the good old days where celebrities did anything just to show face. Whether it was performing at 7 AM to a whole Disney choreo, or it was showing up to every event/interview possible while having a full-blown era. The fault falls on SZA's manager because I didn't even remember she existed until news reported that her management team pulled her performance, as if the awards were gonna care that much. This is sabotaging because a good performance at a big award show night would have been very good for her because she would have gave something to the general public. And because I'm not a diehard SZA fan, I couldn't even remember if she went to the show or not. Speaking of performances at the VMAs, let's talk about Demi Lovato. Seeing Demi at the VMAs happy and performing gave me genuine joy because, like I mentioned earlier, I grew up watching award shows and keeping up with pop culture. For the longest I can remember, Demi hasn't been where she wanted to be in almost ever. And that was whether she didn't feel good enough, pretty enough, successful enough, and she would just leave these award shows feeling pretty sad. It also didn't help that the mean girls weren't really nice to her and left her out, even though they all started in the industry around the same time and were the OGs of this generation. So why was this performance special to the people/fans who kept up with Demi? Well, it was her first time coming back to the VMAs since 2017. Demi looked amazing. Her rock era really fits her, and if she can keep showing face, she'll bring in big numbers simply doing rock because she's the only Disney pop star who can do it without it feeling not authentic. even though Miley Cyrus's Plastic Hearts pop rock album is also one of my faves, Demi just takes it for the rock category. Demi singing the rock versions of her old songs showed her that she has longevity in the industry, and that was probably something shocking for her, that everyone in the crowd knew the entire lyrics of each song she sang. Demi sang the rock version of Heart Attack, Sorry Not Sorry, and Cool for the Summer. Her biggest fan of the night? Taylor Swift. Taylor was singing and dancing to every second of Demi's performance. She was so supportive of her in the crowd, she actually shocked me, since she's never shown this much support to Demi in the 15 years they've been going to award shows together. Instead, it would go, Taylor and Selena would cuddle together at these award shows and painfully ice Demi out. Everyone saw it and their fans never let that go. So it was heartwarming to see someone as huge as Taylor let go of the old mean girl nonsense and actually support Demi. Especially since now, Taylor's fans are genuinely happy and surprised between the exchange, and Demi was so touched she gave Taylor a shout out on TikTok and Instagram Live.
It's nice to see everybody enjoying it in the audience. Kelsey Ballerini and Taylor Swift, seeing them dance to that made my heart warm.
Like, if Taylor really wants a loyal friend in the music industry, she has to look no further than Demi, because Demi will jump in front of a train to support a friend. And I know the whole night Taylor was everyone's biggest fan, but there's a special touch when it comes to Taylor and Demi because in all the years they've went to these award shows together, the icing out of Demi Lovato was so cruel and obvious. Speaking of cruel, what's up with Selena Gomez's face? It's a music show, and yet Selena found a way to pull headlines for anything but her music. Some Demi fans were dragging Selena because even though her and Selena fell off as best friends, they've had such a long history that you can't help but keep love out there for one another. Yet, it wasn't Selena jumping up and down supporting her ex-best friend, who she still has love for, coming back to the award shows. It was Demi's lesser friend turned bully turned fan, Taylor. It says a lot when strangers/casual friends support you more than the people you were closest to at a time or are closest to. Trust me, I've seen this scenario play out one too many times in real life. I have friends like Selena, some are like Demi, and some are like Taylor. So if there's anyone who understands their dynamic, it would be someone who has seen this play out in real life too many times. Demi is the underestimated one, the one whose troubles drag her further back than forward. Selena is the favored one. She capitalizes on her limited capabilities, but will somehow stay favored, while Taylor is the leader. So when the underestimated one takes back their power and is threatening the favored one, especially watching the leader gush over her, it can bring out a very bitter atmosphere in Selena. Especially because award shows were always Selena and Taylor's thing, and Demi was just thrown on the side. I can actually make a video about these three, because even though they've never been a trio, they oddly have a lot of history together. But weirdly, that's not the biggest issue today. Selena didn't really do much. She did clap, sort of, while Demi was performing, but again, fans dragged Selena for looking bitter, and I'm just explaining to the general public why that is. What's really pulling headlines is Selena's face towards the whole show. She was so out of it and kind of looked weirdly upset or bitter, almost as if nothing was good enough for her. She made this face during Olivia Rodrigo's performance, which they on Twitter had a laugh at. She was holding her ear and looked confused. She claims it was because she heard a loud noise from Olivia's set and it caused her to look like this. She looked extremely annoyed at the mention of Nicki Minaj. She suddenly became SZA's biggest fan in the span of a week. I wonder why. She gave Taylor a glare during her acceptance speech, which, like I always tell you, they'll pose for pictures and do a yearly hangout, but when the camera catches them off guard, suddenly there's a stank face.
Relaxing feeling of maybe we all have the same issues. So, thank you so much to the fans. I love you so much. This means.
She sucked her teeth at the mention of Chris Brown, which then went viral because somehow Chris Brown still has shooters. But what was even worse was that she, once again, took her thoughts to Instagram.
Here we go again.
She replied back to iHeartRadio's IG post of her making a sour face at the mention of Chris Brown and commented, "Who cares, LOL." She then goes on her Instagram story and writes, "I will never be a meme again. I'd rather sit still than be dragged for being myself. Much love." I don't even know what her statement means. I'd rather sit still than be dragged for being myself. What?
What does that mean?
I'll never be a meme again. Taylor Swift can beat Selena in a lot of things, but she'll never beat her in the Bitter Olympics. The whole night she had a sour face on, and his mad people noticed that. Chris Brown then took to his Instagram story and said, "Let me mind my business. Chris, if you change your mind, you can email the Scandalous team." Joking, obviously.
I was just kidding! Come on!
I mean, Chris Brown is trash. We'll never forget what happened with him and Rihanna, so in no way am I defending someone like him, nor do I think Selena is at fault for not being a fan. I just think it's funny how much Selena kicks and whines whenever anything happens. How are you feuding with Chris Brown, the 90th person you're feuding with this year alone? Also, do you want to know how funny everything is? Selena is there with Rema, the guy who put her on his song Calm Down for the remix. Rema is dating Justine Skye, who is Hailey Bieber's best friend. How cute. She's all up on top of him, and yet the world hasn't bat an eyelash yet. I wonder if Hailey was standing next to The Weeknd or Taylor, how fast we'd have a repeat of March 2023. Also, notice how Rema was pretty standoffish towards Selena. She was just touching and laying on him and he didn't really show much emotion. So yeah, that's Selena at the VMAs, finding ways to make headlines for literally everything but her music. We haven't had a decent debut for a pop star since literally the Disney Channel days, so I applaud Olivia for bringing back a good teen/young adult pop star rollout era. I love that she reminds me of the Disney girls, but with more of an adult twist, even though she's the same age that Miley was when she was getting crucified for the Can't Be Tamed era. It seems like being on Disney and cursing in your album is now socially acceptable. It's funny, because back then, if the Jonas Brothers, for example, were on Disney and cursing in their albums, or had any sex-related themes, they would have been shot by Bob Iger himself. But I can't help but think that Olivia is in that point of her career, and she's switching from the endless support and love and being super excited to be in the industry to just being over it. She seems to have left the awards show right after her performance, which was pretty early on in the show. She lost 2 awards to Taylor, which is probably how Taylor was able to sleep the night of the VMAs. For those of you who don't know, there are rumors that Taylor and Olivia have a feud, rumors which I can confirm are true. Why? Simple. Don't meet your heroes. Odds are you're not gonna like them. This is also why people thought Selena might have been shading Olivia when she made this face during her performance, because it was giving I stand with my bestie Taylor vibes. But it could have been a misunderstanding because Olivia's stage falling apart shocked a lot of people in the crowd. Anyway, back to Taylor and Olivia's feud. Olivia started out as a huge fan of Taylor's, even crediting Taylor for Olivia's passion for music. After watching Olivia take over 2021 with Driver's License and 2022 with Deja Vu and Good For You, Taylor argued that Deja Vu takes inspiration from her song Cruel Summer, and Olivia had to give 50% of royalties from that song to Taylor. Hearing this, Paramore got on board with saying Olivia's Good For You song sounds a lot like their band's 2007 Misery Business, and Olivia had to also give another 50% of royalties to Paramore. I know Taylor's fans will say Taylor never asked for credit or anything, and that Taylor and her team woke up one day and suddenly they were credited for royalties for Deja Vu. But that's not true. If anything, Taylor doing what she did is what gave Paramore the inspo to do the same. And it was all during Olivia's debut era. I made a video in detail about their fallout and how it seems to be even more present during Olivia's second album, Guts. Keep an eye out for another video I'm making about Olivia's song, The Grudge, which is definitely aimed at Taylor with even more proof than Olivia's song, Vampire. But yeah, I stand both of them for giving us an iconic pop moment. Like feuding with your longtime idol because your idol is scared you steal their success at the ripe age of 20 is wild. Almost 5 years ago on the spot, Cardi B and Nicki Minaj physically fought at New York Fashion Week, September 2018. Now 5 years later, Cardi is performing at the same event that Nicki is emceeing. From my personal point of view, Nicki wants more trouble than Cardi does. She has a long history of tearing down anyone who tries to come for the R&B hip-hop throne. Whether it's Cardi B, Lil Kim, or even Miley Cyrus, Nicki usually doesn't stay quiet. And let's not forget her Queen radio show where she was causing fights every week. Nicki is definitely an icon, but I'm not one to manipulate facts based on my likeness to them. It was reported that Cardi left right after her performance with Megan Thee Stallion, and that was pretty early on into the show. They were the 5th performance of the night out of 19. When Cardi left, she left with 8 bodyguards. 8 whole bodyguards. I mean, I don't blame her. The last thing she probably needed was to run into Nicki backstage and suddenly it's New York Fashion Week all over again. People also said that Nicki threw shade at Cardi during her performance to one of her songs coming out in her new album, Pink Friday 2, where she raps, "You just look up to me, you said you look up to her, but really you look up to me." Let's just say I wouldn't want to be beefing with Nicki or Cardi. What do you guys think? Will there be forever beef between these two, or are people reading too much into it? And now, here are some honorable mentions you guys can chat about in the comments below. How did you guys feel about Doja Cat's performance? She's giving me wannabe Lady Gaga vibes, and I say this as someone who has been listening to Doja's music. It's obvious what she's doing, and she's going for the longevity shock factor. How did you guys feel about Miley Cyrus being nominated for 8 categories, but not winning a single one? I had a feeling this was gonna happen because she didn't show up or do one of those acceptance videos for them to play on the big screen. Usually this is how award shows go. When you show up and it's not for a performance, you're coming to collect your awards. How did you guys feel about Shakira's performance? She's definitely iconic and I loved watching it. And how did you guys feel about the hip hop's 50th anniversary tribute with Nicki Minaj, Lil Wayne, LL Cool J, and more iconic hip hop artists? Let me know if there's anything else we missed. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Follow us on our social media. Make sure to like and subscribe for more. And as always, I'll see you next time.